Hey guys, it is Patrick, and before you dive into this intermediate accounting lesson, I wanted you to know that you can actually download the notes for this section and specifically this lesson that you're about to watch if you head to my website at www.patrickleemsa.com, or you can head over to the description link that's below, and I'll put that link to those notes below where you can find them, download them, and print them and follow along as you watch this lesson. So go do that, and here is your intermediate accounting lesson. All right, in this lesson, we're going to be talking about the objectives of financial reporting. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the elements that make up the ability to do what we're supposed to do when it comes to financial reporting. So let's take a look here at the objective of financial reporting. So, at the end of the day, what is our objective? And we've been talking about this ever since the beginning of this section, but the objective of this financial reporting is to provide financial information that is useful to capital providers. And there are some elements that we should think about when it comes to providing useful information to those decision makers. So when we talk about elements, there's four of them here. The first one being general purpose financial statements. The second one being equity investors and creditors. We've got entity perspective, and then we also have decision usefulness. So these are the elements that make up what we're trying to do at the end of the day. So let's take a first look here at general purpose financial statements. So general purpose financial statements means that we should be providing financial reporting information to a wide variety of users at the lowest cost possible. Because, at the end of the day, who's paying for these audits? It's not the company, it's the investors. Because at the end of the day, if we have to incur this cost as a company, that means that we have less money to give to our investors in the form of dividends. So really, it's the investors that are paying for these audits, not necessarily the company that's paying for these audits. So we want to be able to do them at a low cost, but we also want them to be effective. In order to be effective, we also want to make sure that we're not preparing financial statements for every single audience member based on what their needs are. Therefore, we take an approach of having general purpose financial statements, meaning we're going to make these financial statements as broad as we can so that they can reach or they're able to be used by numerous different audiences or stakeholders so that we're not having to print one for investors, one for lenders, one for the government, one for employees. We're going to say, hey, we're going to prepare one, and then it's got to satisfy all of your guys' needs when it comes to investing in our company. So we want to think about general purpose financial statements in that we want to make sure that they have a wide effect and not such a narrow-mindedness for one segment of our stakeholder audience. Now, this is the same reason why we might not make financial statements specific to creditors versus investors. We want them general purpose rather than specific. When it comes to equity investors and creditors need this information to assess the company's ability to generate net cash inflows and to understand management's ability to protect and enhance the assets of the company, to either pay back a creditor or to pay dividends to an investor. So we've got two things here. The first thing here is we want to make sure that the company's being able to generate net cash inflows, meaning that it makes no difference if we have a great company if they're losing money. By losing money, meaning that the money that's coming in is less than the money is going out. So we use the financial statements as a way to predict and to understand and make sure that the company is bringing in more money than that is going out. So we want to ensure that, and by looking at the financial statement, we can kind of get a picture of if that is happening. The second part of here is understand management's ability to protect and enhance the assets. If we really think about it, a company has tons of assets. The question is, are they protecting those assets or do they not care? For instance, if we think about airlines have tons of airplanes. Those airplanes can cost $30, $40, $50 million. Are they protecting those assets? How are they protecting those assets? Now, let me be straight here. We're not going to find that in the financial statements. We're not going to find that, oh yeah, we're protecting our planes by doing this. but what are they doing to protect it? So, what expenses are they incurring? Does that help them protect the assets? When it comes to maintenance of those assets, are they doing maintenance, or are they just letting the machine run, and then when it's done, toss it out and buy a new one? Is that cost effective? For instance, if a plane is $30 million, do they just go, something's broke, we're going to toss that plane and that's going to cost us $30 million? Or are they going to spend $200,000 to get it fixed and then they can continue using it? So we want to ensure that the company is protecting those assets and they are generating a net cash inflow. Now, when we talk about entity perspective, companies are viewed as separate and distinct from their owners or present shareholders using this perspective. What we're talking about here is we're saying that we're ensuring that the financial statements report the entity's perspective of their financial results rather than a mixture of all these other things that may have nothing to do with the company's overall financial picture. And then lastly, decision usefulness should help investors assess the amount, timing, and uncertainty of prospective cash inflows from dividends or interest, and the proceeds from sales, redemptions, or maturity of securities and loans. So what we're saying here is that in order for information to be decision useful, we need to be able to kind of predict what cash inflows are going to look like in the future. But then we're going to need to make sure that we can go into the future and be able to compare what our predictions were based on what actually happened. So in order to make sure something is decision usefulness, we need to see that dichotomy of that what we project is very close to what actually happens. That ensures that we have a very stable company, and maybe that's a company that we want to invest more in because we have this predictability. And let me tell you, investors love predictability. They hate unpredictability. You can see that every time there is a sharp drop in the stock market price because there is uncertainty on the future of the company. So making sure something that is decision useful is important to investors. So that is a look at some of the elements that make up our objective of financial reporting and what we need to do to ensure that we're meeting our objective for our investors by providing them appropriate information so they can make appropriate decisions. So hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, thanks for watching this lesson. If you enjoy what you saw, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to write something in the comment section below, like, I don't know, what's your favorite superhero? If you are looking for the next intermediate accounting lesson, make sure you click on this button right over here. And if you want to head to my website and see all of the lessons that are available, make sure you head to my website right here. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.